Hey guys, it's Optimus Prime. I'm back with another video, and today's the day. Titans Return. The first 2 episodes are online right now as we speak on Go90.com. Remember how good Combiner Wars was? Yeah, well guess what? And you remember when I did my review for it? Well, I'm so excited. I'm so amped. I'm so ready to see Optimus Prime be the leader of the Autobots. I'm ready to see Judd Nelson reprise the role, and I'm ready to see it all. I mean, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Alright, so I'm going to put my headphones on now, and we are going to watch Titans Return, the first 2 episodes. So, there's going to be 10 episodes of this. What the f- So you really want me to do this? You really want me to give you guys a Titans Return review, huh? You really want me to go all out and for watching this? Yeah, I've watched Titans Return now 3 times, and the 3 times that I've watched it, it has not gotten better for me as I thought that maybe it would. Maybe I'd be a little bit more forgiving, but just like Michael Bay with Transformers: The Last Night, where I went, oh yeah, wasn't so bad, and then you get to the end and you're just kind of like, you watch it over again and your opinions just go down to the toilet. Titans Return didn't do that for me. It actually, for the most part, it just sucked. It just sucked. Titans Return just sucked, okay? First of all, the animation moves at a slow pace. It just basically you just sit there. You wait for people to sit there. It's like, do you think that we're going to stop Trypticon? Yeah. You know what? It's like a badly dubbed Godzilla movie. And you know what? I love Godzilla. I love to watch Godzilla movies. I'll even admit it. I love Godzilla vs. Megalon. I'd rather watch Godzilla vs. Megalon than Titans Return. Yeah, that's how bad it was. Trypticon vs. Metroplex was a horrid fight. Fortress Maximus versus Trypticon was an even worse fight. Hey, let's make Victorion bigger for no apparent reason and give her a galaxy-looking, like, overlay or whatever and make her battle Trypticon. It's horrible. It's horrible. First of all, the characters don't have anywhere to go. And the series is, 10 episodes long? It's 10 episodes long with 4 episodes of plot. You could have literally made the entirety of Titans Return take place in about 50 minutes, but because of all the time delays, because of all the time that they take to extend everything out, it just takes forever to do anything. The music is terrible. It's like basically there is no music. It's like barely there. It's like this weird. It's not like Combiner Wars had better music than Titans Return. And I will say this much: there is an improvement in Titans Return in that they actually had a coherent storyline, things to go. But it literally felt like a video game. There is a moment where Optimus Prime is fighting the Combiners. And when he's fighting the Combiners, he's sitting there running, and it looks like a really bad video game animation running, and you're controlling him. I mean, you can probably put an overlay over this. Look at this. Yeah, you could probably see here. It looks like Optimus Prime. You can be controlling him with an Xbox controller. Yeah, why don't we make Titans Return the video game? Yeah, let's make Titans Return the video game. That would be better than this. Because the entirety of Titans Return literally felt like video game cutscenes that were spliced together to try and make a coherent series. It's not that good. It's not good at all. First of all, one of the things that really bothered me was that there's inconsistencies in the show. The Combiners, can separate. I mean, they can separate But Rodimus is obviously riding one of the limbs, but Victorion is full without her limbs detached, and he goes off to give off the matrix of leadership because he doesn't want to be leader of the Autobots anymore. And he goes back to being Hot Rod, and for some stupid, idiotic reason, he decides to have a faceplate. I mean, it's terrible. It's just really, really bad. Then obviously Overlord comes in, and he just basically just sits there, and you're like, why? Like he barely does anything. His animation just is like so stiff. It's like I would rather have watched the action in Combiner Wars than this. But again, a Godzilla movie is more exciting than Titan's Return. Overlord turns Hot Rod into Rodimus Kron, but he doesn't show up towards the end because that's going to be something for Power of the Primes. And then Megatronus comes in, and he's voiced by Mark Hamill, which is a really cool surprise. And he does his best to try and deliver his lines. It almost sounds like this cross between Luke Skywalker and the Joker. It's kind of like this cross between him being an evil Luke Skywalker while being the Joker at the same time. It's kind of surreal. It's actually kind of cool. But he looks like a Mega Man X villain. Like, I would rather go play Mega Man X4 and see the Robot Masters in that than to see Megatronus look like what he looks like here, because he looks weird. He just looks weird. And the other thing, I mean, and also let's put the the elephant in the room. Optimus Prime dies again. Yeah. And here's the thing. He doesn't just die once. Megatron mentions, "Are you still mad at me for killing you once?" Like, so in other words, in this universe, in this, Generation 1 offshoot of the Prime Wars trilogy, Optimus Prime has died twice. So if we want to count how many times Optimus Prime has now died, he's now died 31 times. I think he's getting up there as far as deaths is concerned. It's becoming a staple. Starscream's died now once, and now Optimus has died twice now. One, obviously off screen, and it's really like a wasteful death. It's just kind of like, it's just boom, it happens. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It just happens. It's almost like Optimus was like second fiddle. The other thing I wanted to mention is the voice actors. The voice actors themselves, you can tell they want to really perform. They want to actually put their all into this, but they're not able to. They're given this script, and they're given these characters that are nothing. They're a lot of them are monotone. Metroplex, Fortress Maximus, they're all just kind of like, "Yes, I know. We must stop the Decepticons." Like, I mean, it's not even the Decepticons. We must stop Trypticon, because Trypticon is basically Godzillaing over the entirety of Cybertron. And Cybertron, for some strange, weird, idiotic reason, Cybertron has got like mountains and rocky plains and solar caps is where Fortress Maximus is. It's not even a complete planet full of Cybertronian life. It's literally like a planet that was probably at one time organic and has Cybertronian cities. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, this is not Cybertron. This is not the Cybertron that I would expect. And also, when Trypticon is stepping on buildings, there's no real destruction happening. Like, it's as if he just kind of like steps on nothing, and there isn't even like a pancaking. There is no buildings crashing. There's no destructions. It's just it doesn't make any sense. And when he transforms in a dust cloud. It's kind of like a dust cloud comes over him, and then all of a sudden he's in mode. It's as if they got lazy. They don't know how to do animation and actually make a robot transform. It doesn't make any sense. The animation is just that bad. But back to the voice actors. What it literally felt like to me was that the voice actors themselves were actually just sitting in a, like, each one of them were had individual sessions. They weren't sitting in an ensemble cast room like they did with Transformers Prime and Beast Wars and G1, you know, where everybody sits in a room and you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and you can kind of like, you know what, this line doesn't work, why don't we try and say it this way so that it sounds natural? No, it doesn't sound natural. In fact, if anything, you know, a lot of times you almost feel like these two people are not having a conversation with one another. They're not talking to one another. It's a guy sitting in a room, reading his lines, and going, oh, the Decepticons are going to be revived. Oh, Trypticon is doing a horrible thing. All right, that works, that's great, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. And even poor Peter Cullen, I mean, for all it's said and done, he is Optimus Prime, and you know, you really can't like fault the guy, but he comes in, it's like he's barely there. You can literally tell like he wants to put his emotions into it, and he can't put that emotion into this at all. I will say some positive things. They brought in Victor Carroll for doing the beginning, you know, last time on Combiner Wars. You know, it was actually kind of cool that they brought him back to do that whole narration again. But he's just kind of like a walk-on appearance. I mean, obviously, he's just a narrator, but it's cool that they actually brought him in. I also think it's cool that they decided to do Megatronus and actually give him the name The Fallen. He is The Fallen. And he does have flames, so he has his Dreamwave, you know, first appearance when he actually was basically like the Flame Lord, and where he just kind of like, you know, has like fire behind him, and he looks like, you know, he almost has like a weird like helmet that's almost kind of reminiscent to, you know, the Michael Bay films, and then at the same time he looks like a Mega Man X villain, like kind of like his IDW appearance where he's very blocky. So it's kind of like this cross between the three. Is what you actually get. So those are probably my two positives. I will say another cool thing is that like Hot Rod himself, like or Rodimus Prime, Hot Rod actually does have a little bit of story development where he feels like, okay, well now I'm Hot Rod again, so I can actually like save people. But the show has a bunch of inconsistencies even in the storytelling. So Hot Rod goes to save Emissary, who gets swallowed by Trypticon, and he comes out of Trypticon's eye as if he's coming out like of Unicron's eye, like in the movie, and he takes his he's literally in midair for like a good like forever. It's just kind of like, okay, well I can't get to you in time, so I'll just throw him, and he's still falling. And then all of a sudden, Trypticon just comes around, whacks him with his tail. He goes flying, and he's knocked out, and that gives Overlord the opportunity to, you know, turn him in, you know, evil. And Optimus, in a later episode, is on Trypticon's neck. Oh, speaking of just coming onto his neck, he does this whole like giant flying somersault thing, like out of nowhere, where he can jump as tall as Trypticon. Since when can Optimus Prime do that? And he lands on Trypticon's neck, and he's able to like, you know, he's able to shoot at him, and he's able to actually damage him. He's able to hit him with his axe, and he actually hurts him. I'm like, come on, you're telling me Optimus doesn't even have the Matrix of Leadership in his chest, and he can do that? And then on top of that, he does this like swan dive. He does this like dive right off of Trypticon, and he lands like gently on the ground and transforms. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like Optimus can just kind of like, I'll just glide down and just land on the ground. But Hot Rod is like, he's flying, you know, driving out of, you know, Trypticon's eye, and it takes forever for him to fall. He's not even halfway down, and he's still falling. But Optimus can fall real quick and get down real quick. I mean, it makes no sense. And you want to know something really funny? There is a scene where Victorion actually picks up this, like, spike on the ground, and she starts running, and the only thing that I can think, and you remember something, I'm an 80s guy, so the only thing that's going through my mind is Chariots of Fire. I can literally picture going da 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 I mean, come on, you can't like not think that when you're watching this. It's the most like weird thing ever, and she's running forever, like literally, like she goes on for like a while before she runs, and throws this this spike into an energon river, and obviously to knock down Trypticon, which doesn't work. So overall, I mean, this show is it's just not that good. It's just not that good. I mean, you guys are seeing me just vent out my frustrations because, I wanted this show to be better. After Combiner Wars was, 6 episodes that literally felt like they had more plot to tell, and they couldn't do it within the time constraints, but the storyline sucked anyway, and the show animation sucks. Titans Return uses the same animation, actually has a story, but doesn't have enough story to tell for more than like a half, for 45 minutes, and has to do it in an hour and 20. And yeah, that's the thing. This is like 10 episodes. They're 11 minutes long, and you almost feel like there are episodes in the middle where it's like, that's it. That's the whole episode. That's all that we got. I mean, you can literally fall asleep. There are moments where I actually almost fell asleep watching this. It was towards the end that the show actually started picking up its pace, and at the end, it was like, all right, I can see where they're going to go with this, but the show's still bad. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better at all. It's. I'm just literally for how long? For 15 minutes here, I'm sitting here ready to just scream at the TV because because the show is just that bad. And I'm not even watching it on TV. I'm watching it online. It's not on. And thank God it's not on. It's not on a network, because then we would probably have a lot more people watching it and probably saying how bad it is. But apparently 90 million people watched Combiner Wars, so it was more than enough to make Titans Return, and now they're going to make Power of the Primes next year. And speaking of Power of the Primes, this show is that's going to be the third part of the sequel. So this show is going to have its third part, and you have an entire toy line. You have 3 years of toy lines that are coming out, and you're not even focusing on most of the toys. You have at best 10 characters. I mean, and that's it. And you have so many toys. Where's Ultra Magnus? How come the Combiners don't have more individual personalities? Oh, what, Long Haul? He was barely there for a minute. Stormclash was flying Rodimus to the Basilica, but Victorion is doing her own thing. Victorion loses an arm, which is Dust Up, and Dust Up apparently, obviously, is now gone, but nobody cares that Dust Up is dead. No, because Victorion, Menasor, Computron, and Devastator are individual robots that just happen to be big. Oh, they can separate into individuals, but they're not really more than this in this show. They have so many toys at their disposal. They could have brought in Cyclonus. They could have brought in. With Titans Return alone, you had so many toys. You could have brought in the headmasters and the pseudo target masters that they made headmasters in the toy line. They could have literally gone crazy with Titans Return and made so many toys actually be characters. Then you don't even know that there are other Cybertronians, on Cybertron. The only time that we actually know is because the Mistress of Flame, who by the way gets killed by Overlord, sends in the Elite Guard. Who's the Elite Guard? 4 Decepticon jets. It looks like Thundercracker, Skywarp, Sunstorm, and some other generic probably. And they all get killed. They get killed literally in a minute. So we don't even know that they exist. They're just there. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. Where's the rest of the Transformers? If this is supposed to be an entire planet, if this is supposed to be an entire population of Cybertronians, how come we don't see all that? You don't. In a Godzilla movie, at least you have people evacuating. You have entire populations trying to get away because Godzilla is approaching. You know what? I'm done. The show was bad. It was horrible. And I'm going to go watch the Godzilla anime that is now on Netflix. Yeah, and I'm going to sit there for like an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half. It's like Monster Planet. It's like an hour and a half. So I'm going to sit down and watch that. Why? Because I'm a Godzilla fan, too. That's right. I'm going to sit down and watch it. This was horrible, too.